This is a full guide on taking you from noob to an absolute god tier animator using two tools, NanoBanana and BO3, both of which are from Google. So let's dive in. But I want to preface this, warn you, with great power comes great responsibility. Do not abuse this. Don't do it. Do not abuse this. Now let's jump in. As I said, two different tools we're going to use, and I'm going to show you three different means of using this tool, all of which I use in my day-to-day for me and my clients, in addition to my social media and everything in between. Now, the first method you guys may recognize. These are my assets that I use for productive sound, my record label and channel and musical endeavor, right? All of these I've created in here, and you can pause this, you can steal my prompts. Don't do that. But we're going to recreate this kind of thing from scratch so that you guys can do this as well. So open up a fresh instance of Google AI Studio, NanoBanana right here. You can just click this, then try NanoBanana. So the first thing we need to do is generate the base scene. This is extremely important. Now I have here a prompt that I grabbed from the community. It's basically a stylized anime anonymous character wearing a hooded cloak with headphones over. And then the setting is a spaceship flying through the galaxy. And then key elements, a cup of coffee or tea next to him, and subtle details. We're going to run this because we need a starting point. And right off the bat, we have a few issues: the aspect ratio and the art style. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload a reference image utilizing my art style and the aspect ratio. At the time of recording this, NanoBanana has no way to tell or can direct it to generate a specific aspect ratio. It's kind of annoying, and prompting that doesn't always do the trick. So I'm just going to upload this, and then I'm going to re-grab this right here, and then we're just going to resend it. Just like that. Actually, stop that. I need to first, using this image as a reference for the art style, create the following scene. There we go. Give it a little bit more instruction, because if we just give it this, it's probably going to create something very similar. We don't want something identical. We want something in the similar art style, and we want to reference this aspect ratio. And right off the bat, we have a few more things. So this is the beauty of prompting, few shot prompting. We need to iterate repeatedly just to get what we want. So first off, I don't like this futuristic hologram stuff. It's too played out, in my opinion. And then also the sword is a bit too cut off. I don't know why, but it's also adhering to this a little too much. Now the temperature is all the way up. That's good. Top P should be fine. So yeah, we'll just play with it a little bit more. Sorry, my eye is absolutely messed up. Now I added only reference the style of the art, not the composition. And we have this, which will do. This isn't too bad. But I also forgot to mention no holograms. So I'm going to prompt that real. Remove the holograms. I do not like holograms. Get the fucking holograms out of here. And for some reason, it just removed everything. Add controls to the desk. Just like that. This should work. Perfect. We have no holograms and we have controls. Very good. Why is the sword there now? Okay, so now let's move the sword to the background. Now I'm showing you guys this process so you know how to fix things. This is literally prompting 101. This is AI generation 101. You tell it what to do, it does something, and then you need to tell it to do something else. The more specific, the better, because I didn't tell it where in the background, so it just stuck it right in the center, obstructing the view of the spaceship. That's not practical. So let's actually do this on the ground right there. So we're going to regenerate that. Still not good. Let's regenerate that. I put resting against the controls, and we have something a little bit better. But now I'm thinking I don't even really want a sword. So I'm just going to get rid of the sword altogether. Remove the sword. Doesn't really make sense to have a sword in space anyways. I just thought it would be cool. There we go. Perfect. Now, this is a perfect scene. Perfect starting point. But I'm going to need to change one last thing, and that is like these little particles floating around. I don't want any particles. Remove the particles. Hopefully it doesn't remove the stars. And it removed the stars. You know what? That's fine. That's fine. Because when we put this in VO3, I mean, there's still stars in there. It doesn't look too bad. VO3 will add some more stars. So this is good. I could take a lot more time, really fine tune this and get it perfect, but perfection is the enemy of art and creativity, not to mention efficiency. So we'll go with this. Download that. Now we need to animate it. So open up Flow or however you use VO3. And then we'll just load up the image, frames to video. Then right here, we're going to upload our image there. Make sure, depending on how you want to animate this or where you want to post this content, whether you want 16 by 9 or 9 by 16, whether it's horizontal or vertical, you can toggle that right here if you didn't know. Then crop and save. While that's loading, I'm going to load up our prompt. The prompt is animate the scene with subtle, continuous motion. The character's head nods slightly to the beat. Steam rises from a coffee cup. Rain trickles down the window. Stars gently twinkle. For this, 4 generations, VO3 fast. We're going to fire that in and see what we get. Let's see how these turned out. First one, right off the bat, not good. Camera moving too much. And then also stuff happening outside, like it's raining base. This one could be good. That one's pretty good. This one's not good. We have some weird stuff happening with the logo, and again with the rain. Not sure why VO thinks that it's a good idea to put rain. I'm going to try one more time. If not, we'll go with this one because this one's good. For this, I'm going to do stationary camera. I just realized I did prompt rain because I initially was going to do something else. So that's my fault. If you guys saw that before and were questioning whether or not I'm stupid, probably. So get rid of that. Stars gently twinkle. Stationary camera. Good to go. Now we should be getting good results. Cannot believe I did not see that. What a dunce. All right, these should be much better. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's much better. The hands still could be perfect. The hands still could be a little bit better. Fingers kind of distort a little bit. And then on this one, cool. I like the action there. Yeah, that's good as well. And then lastly, this one's pretty good too. Oh, this one's really good as well. I like how the planets are. That one kind of looks a little weird at the end. The first two are great. I think I like, stitching these together would be good. Oh, wait. No, logo. It's kind of messed up. Gotta have the logo in there. Okay, yeah. 1 and 3 are good. I'm gonna go with 3. So let's download this with this little download button, and then we want the upscaled version. We want it nice and high quality for our visualizer. Now, many of you are good with that, but let's loop this. Let's take it the step further. Make this a looping animation so that it flows nice and clean. And there are 2 ways to do this. 2 ways that I do this, I should say. The first way would be much easier once Google releases an end frame feature for VO3. Currently, they don't allow it. You can only do this with VO2. So if we go to VO2 fast, just like this, actually, let me just make sure that they didn't implement that change yet. So if we go here and try it, okay, so yeah, still not supported on VO3 fast. So we have to switch to VO2. So we have to grab the end frame of this animation and use that as the first frame, and then grab the first frame of this animation and put it as the end frame. Hopefully that makes sense. So we're creating the loop. We're connecting the other half of the animation. Download that real quick. So to get the other frame, quick way we can do that, just go into Scene Builder. Oops. I need to add this to the Scene Builder first. So if we add this to Scene right here, go to Scene Builder, we can grab this frame here. So we can just go right here, copy video frame. Actually, it was this one here. If we go here, once we're at this point, then we can just go here and then copy video frame, just like that. So now we can go back and then make sure we're at VO2 fast, go to frames to video, and then get rid of that frame. So we're going to scroll to the end of this animation, right click, and then save video frame as, and we'll just save that. And then let's go back, go to frames to video. Then we're going to upload that frame right here. Boom. Crop and save. And then, as I said, we are going to grab that first frame of the animation, which is just our reference image, the first one that we made in NanoBanana. And then lastly, just grab that prompt. Oops, grab it right here, just like so. And then we're going to plug that bad boy in and generate. Now, this is probably the best method of creating looped animations, but VO2 is not a very great model. There are ways to use Kling and Minimax and Runway. Those are a little bit better than VO2, But as soon as Google implements the ability to do this with the VO3, it's game over. All right, result number 1. Okay, so the planets are going backwards. That's to be expected because the galaxy in the second image is going to be smaller. Whoa. That's pretty interesting. I don't like how she closed that and grabs. What is she doing? All right. All right. This is an interesting predicament because in the loop, she's going to be going back and forth, which isn't too bad, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, we're not trying to tell a story with this. We just need a visualizer for whatever it is that you're using this for. For me, I use it for music, very chill, focused music. So I'm just making sure the frames are good because I like this. It kind of blurs out a little bit right there. I don't know which one I like more. That planet is pretty sick, not gonna lie. Ooh, I think I'm gonna go with the second one, actually. I was just gonna keep it simple. Maybe I'll regret that, maybe I won't. But we're going to download that, and then we can also just throw this in the scene builder. So we go right here, then we have our other video there, and then we can play it to see how it looks all stitched together. Oh, that's not bad. That's actually really not bad at all. Sometimes VO2 just has such a noticeable difference that if you try to stitch it together, it just looks terrible. But this is passable. I like this. Sweet. So now we have this downloading, and then we can actually just download this entire thing stitched together. I like to have everything, both individual clips and then the compound clip, we'll call that. So now we have our video. So let's hop into our video editing software. I'm going to use CapCut. All right, so in CapCut, I now have all 3 of our videos. We have the first 2 generations, clip 1, clip 2, and then we have the compound clip there. So the compound clip will just drop in here, give it a play. And yeah, it still looks good. Very good, very good. So I'm going to turn the audio off, and then I'm going to copy, paste, drag this over, and then just make sure that the transition into compound clip A and compound clip B is good. So I think we have a duplicate frame in there. Make sure, so yeah, we have a bit of a rough transition here, at least with the smoke. So let's see if the smoke, like right here. So if we cut it off right here, that should transition a lot smoother. Oh yeah, look at that. So you have to have an eye for this kind of stuff. It just takes time. But typically I've noticed that it will extend a little bit beyond the final frame. So you could see there was like maybe 5 or so frames that it generated past our end frame. So just be mindful of that when you guys create stuff, especially with VO2. But yeah, this looks great, just like that. Then we can do the same on this clip. Or rather, instead of doing that, let's just be lazy, delete this, copy paste. Now we can copy paste again. So you can have a long ass little animation there, or you can just loop it and have it play indefinitely, however you want. But that's the first and most powerful way to create looping animation. The second way, let's delete this for now, actually. We'll just delete, then actually I'll just create compound clip, and then we'll hide that, because I'm going to use that for later. If you want to see that in the final production, I have a link to the 24-hour live stream down below. You should be able to see that among all the other ones that we create on my other live stream on this channel. So make sure you check that out. The other method is a little bit more simple. And I use this depending on a few factors. 1, how the animation is, and then 2, how lazy I'm feeling. So this is a quick way to do it. So if we load in both of our clips right here, make sure that they are synced up. So let's do this one first, this one second. So if we play this, we want this to flow. So the other method that we're going to use is called crossfading. Extremely easy to do. And really, there is no correct way to do this. It's just however you want. But I'll do like 2 seconds. So I'll grab this right here. So 2 seconds of video from 6-second mark to the 8-second mark. I'll start the next clip. And then I'll go over here, go to the blending options. And then we're going to add a keyframe. And for the keyframe value, we're going to change the opacity and turn it to about 40%. And then at the end right here, we're going to do 100%. So what this is going to do, it's going to play the first clip. And then with 2 seconds left, it's going to introduce the second clip. And then it's going to transition into the second clip seamlessly. All right. So now let's grab this, both of these clips, copy. Then we're going to go here, paste, just like that. And then just drag this over. Fits like a nice Tetris block, puzzle piece. Then if we play this, we'll see that it's playing, it transitions into the second clip seamlessly, almost. Obviously, it's not seamless. It's a nice little warping effect, which is almost dreamlike, which is perfect for lo-fi channels or like soothing music. Okay, there's no hard cuts. It's not distracting. So if you're planning on creating a music channel with chill music, that's a great way to introduce transitions if you don't want to go balls to the walls like we did in the first generation. But yeah, crossfade, ladies and gentlemen, the second means of creating looped animation. And like I said, if you want to create animations, I have a ton of resources covering creating music, monetizing music, creating a business around that, playing the RPG, all in the community or on this channel. You can find it. Lastly, for those of you who are absolutely serious about the highest quality, we're going to use Topaz Video. I have a link to that down below. But what this is going to do is allow us to clean up, upscale, interpolate frames, basically beef up the animation. Now, I'm going to keep it simple. Since we have an animated image, since we have an animated video, and I stream this on my music channel, I don't need anything more than 30 FPS or high definition. Okay, I don't need 4K, but I do need enhancement. And for this, we're going to use the Artemis model because it denoises and sharpens. Gaia is really good as well because it does anime upscaling, but we're not going to be doing any upscaling. So I'm just going to use Artemis, and I want it to clean up the noise because you can see it has a bit of noise, especially in the darker parts up here. So we're going to do this, and then we're going to recover detail. I'm just going to turn this bad boy up all the way to the max. Input condition, high quality, and then make sure we don't want any other noise. Focus fix, we don't want any more grain. And this should be good. We don't need any stabilization or motion deblur or anything else because by default, the animation is good. We just want it to be perfect. So I'm going to drag this over here, and then I'm going to click the render 10 seconds button. And what this is going to do is it's going to load the model, apply the changes to this so we can compare it side by side. And like I said, I'm not interpolating frames or upscaling, but if you guys want like a 60 FPS or even 100 FPS animation instead of the default 24 to 30 FPS, you're going to need this tool. It makes it buttery smooth. All right. And here we have the end result. So you can see it's not worlds better, but it does look a lot cleaner, especially when you zoom out. In the darker spots, still not perfect, but you can tell like much cleaner than this one here. So I'll let you guys be the judge of this. And that's just the Artemis model. Now I switched to the Proteus model, which I usually use for everything aside from animated videos. But look at this, way better. The detail is there, the grain still there, obviously, but it's much cleaner, especially when you zoom out. And up here in the corner, oh my goodness. Again, not perfect, but you can definitely tell that this is much better, much cleaner. So if you guys want to be serious about this, Topaz Video is where it's at. The next strategy and style that I'm going to show you guys is for those very, I don't want to say clickbaity, but very, how would I even describe these? Like videos that a lot of people try to pass off as reality. Okay, very unbelievable, but very believable stuff. What would you guys call that? AI slop clickbait shit. Anyway, the video that I created utilizing this technique, which I'm going to be creating more of because of how well it performed. I'll link that video right here. I'll let it play.
Look at that thing go! He's almost at the top.
But it's essentially something that I call a viral AI hook, right? Because the goal is to create something so visually stunning or bizarre that it's literally ignites whether or not it's real or AI. It ignites controversy in the comments. Some people believe that it's AI, and then people are like, no, you're stupid, this is AI. And then it's a whole thing. Algorithms love it. So the goal here is to think of something that could exist but doesn't exist. The video I showed you, an excavator with spider-like mechanical legs. It's something that could exist but doesn't exist. And it's something so unordinary, but also believable. If you can find the overlap between those, you have something viral worthy. Especially if you implement the strategies and techniques that I'm about to show you, use this responsibly. Now, for this example, I'm going to create something like a golem or something, like a rocky golem, something like that. We'll see. Or we'll make a clock out of flowing water. We'll see. Let's start with the golem idea. So I have raw image, hyper realistic microshot of a rock caterpillar, a caterpillar made up of rocks. So right here, this, I don't know how we're going to animate this to make it look believable, because this doesn't look like it could exist, but we're going to do something. This would be like a really good, you know those photos on Facebook that old people just eat up that they believe is reality, and it's like some kid in Africa with like a giant sculpture of recycled water bottles, and it's like, I created this but no one supports me. Like, obviously AI nonsense that old people just they eat it up, you guys. I could see this being like that. Again, do not abuse this. Don't be, I hate those posts. If you're going to create stuff like this, don't try and pass it off as reality. Don't be scum. At the top level, the initial instance, yes, you want to make it believable, but don't try and like create fake stuff that doesn't exist. That's immoral in my opinion. But this is good. Let's download this and let's play with this. So let's go back to Flow. I'm going to create a new project, frames to video. And then for this, since we are going to be doing this more short form, we want this to be vertical. So let's, before we do anything else, change this to portrait. And then we're going to upload our image, our little caterpillar dude. And then we'll do something like this, just a little piece of it. Now, how could we pass this off as something that's believable but impossible? Because if it's moving, that's a little too over the top and it might look terrible, but that's a good place to start. So we'll go VO3 fast and we'll do the caterpillar. We'll do rock caterpillar just so it knows 100%. The rock caterpillar crawls across the ground. That is not how you spell ground. Slowly. Something very simple. Now I may actually, now that I'm thinking about it, want some instance of camera motion because I want it to feel like someone recording with a handheld device. So like shaky camera, raw footage, very amateur like. So I'm going to, while this is generating, reuse prompt and then add shaky handheld camera motion. That should do it. And then we'll run that as well. All right, now let's check out the results. Not bad. Yeah, these are good, but like I was worried about in terms of virality, not so much, because this is going to be hard to get that initial reaction of them believing that it's real and then creating the polarization of getting people incentivized to comment like, oh, what the hell, or look through the comments, and then the people who are like, wow, this is incredible, like nature is so amazing, getting people to comment in response to those comments like, oh no, this is AI generated, and get the engagement farming. I don't see this doing that. And now with the second generation, with the shaky handheld camera motion added to the prompt, it looks a lot more convincing, but still the concept isn't there. It's not bad. Maybe we could have gone with something like Onyx from Pokemon. That's kind of what I was thinking, but I didn't really prompt that. We could go that route, but I'm going to do something else, something to generate a lot of engagement, because I want to prove to you guys that this kind of stuff works. So I'm going to create something to have that wow factor, and then obviously have that instance to where people can engage, have that engagement farming aspect. So I generated this raw image, hyper realistic microshot of a homemade remote control helicopter using household items. And it's given me two different options to work with. I think I like this one more because this one has like some weird fluid coming out. Looks like glue. Doesn't look bad, but I think I like this one more. But then again, this one could be a little bit more convincing because it's carpet and you have stuff in the background, but I don't like the remote and I don't like these little caps on there. I'm not going to prompt it to remove it. We'll just go with this, keep it nice and simple, get this going. So we're going to add this, like we'll do, yeah, we'll go about right there. Crop and save. And then for the prompt, we'll do man picks up remote and turns on the makeshift RC helicopter. Raw video, handheld, shaky camera motion. Just like that. Let's see what we got. Okay, that's somewhat convincing. The camera is a little not shaky enough. Okay. Oh, okay. That's pretty good. Now, unfortunately, we'll watch this one first. Not too good. Better, but there's one thing that I forgot: the wow factor, because something like this could be created in real life. Like this isn't too, it's not too extraordinary. I'm going to take this concept and just reprompt it just a little bit for the base image. All right, so I have raw image, hyper realistic microshot, blah blah blah, using power drill, saw blades, razor blades, amateur backyard footage. Something a little bit more. Oh wow, this is potentially dangerous because I want it looks like lawnmower blades on there. This is perfect. This one isn't good, but the concept is there. So I'm gonna re-roll again, see what we can get. So I'm getting mid-flight. So I'm adding the helicopter sitting on the grass, ready for takeoff. There we go. It's getting there. I feel like we can get something that looks a little bit more dangerous. Okay, this this could be good. I don't know what's going on in the back end, but I mean this doesn't look too bad. Hopefully the back end doesn't pose any issue just because it doesn't look very mechanically accurate. Not that any of this does, but this should work. Razor blade, interesting. We'll run with this. Now we'll plug this bad boy right in here. Let's get the, let's cut off the tail just like this. We'll let VO3 use its imagination for the tail end. And then for the prompt, we're going to plug in this. We'll do raw footage, hyper realistic microshot of a homemade remote control helicopter using household items, power drill, saw blades, razor blades, amateur backyard footage. The helicopter is sitting on the grass, ready for takeoff. We'll do the man picks up the remote and powers it on. All right, let's check it out. Not good. Not good. Hallucinations. All right. I missed the camera prompt. So we'll reuse prompt, shaky handheld camera footage. So I'll do that, and then I'll do amateur. Then we'll delete this first part right there. Boom. All right. Nah. That could almost be convincing for old people. The blades don't look too great. Let's see what else we've got. Okay, that's not too bad. A lot of anticipation. I think this is the winner so far. There's a weird artifact when he pushes the button, but it kind of looks like a spark. It's really not that bad. Ooh. Okay. That one's not good for obvious reasons. Dude would be missing his whole forearm. I'm going to run this one more time using the quality model so we can compare the difference. And then we're going to move on, with this one because so far this one's the best. So we'll switch to quality and then generate. Not bad. Ooh, I like that camera pan. The focus is good. The button. Okay, that one's. I don't know because the buttons have no movement to them. That's my only gripe with that one. No movement in the buttons. Okay, he picks it up, pushes the button. Oh, I mean, it doesn't make sense that he would hold it right there, but that's all the more engagement. People are going to wonder that same thing. So this one I think is pretty good because the button, boom, it has a little bit of movement. It's convincing enough. Buttons power on, no weird warping or anything. Saw blades look good, and then he's grabbing it to brace it. Winner so far. Then lastly, let's. Ooh, now that's a tough one because this one is good because he doesn't grab it. Everything else, everything's perfect. Oh, that's a tough one, guys. I still think this one might be more viral worthy. You know what? Keep it simple. Don't overthink this stuff. Just make sure it's quality. I'm overthinking it right now, so we'll just go with the original one. And then original size. At the time of recording this, VO3 only allows you to download portrait 9 by 16 animations or videos, whatever you want to call them, in 720p. Now, this poses a problem for two reasons. Obviously, 720p is way too small. It's not very good quality. And secondly, it's, I believe, 30 frames per second natively or 24. Anyway, it's low FPS, very cinematic looking. So if we want backyard footage, very raw footage, our phones nowadays natively are at least 60 FPS. Some 120 or even 240, depending on the phone you use. So once we download this, I'm going to fire up Topaz again, and then we're going to beef this up, make it 4K, and then we're also going to interpolate the frames to at least 60 FPS. We'll do 60 FPS because it'll look a lot more smooth, and then with the higher resolution, it'll be a lot more quality and it'll be a lot more convincing. Not to mention, social media platforms love high quality footage. So let's fire up Topaz. All right, now let's get this looking good. So we've loaded it into Topaz. Okay. So we need a few things. Like I mentioned before, 720p, it's got to go. 720p's got to go. So we're going to beef that up. All right. I'll just click on that and then we'll go enhancement. And then we're going to do a 2x upscale. So this will be about 4K. So 2K upscale, just what we want. We're going to go with the Proteus model. And then recover detail is good. Focus fix, we don't need to worry about. Grain and parameters you can mess with. I don't really need to do any of these, so we'll be all right. My only fear is that the helicopter blades will look too pristine, too clear. But we'll just run with it. We can add some motion blur later on in post-processing if we wanted to. It's not a big deal. Then we want frame interpolation because, like I said, 24 FPS is usually good for just like cinematic stuff, movies. We don't want that, right? We want backyard footage filmed on a nice iPhone with 60 to even, you could go even further and go like 120 FPS if you wanted to. But I don't want to sit here any longer than I have to wait for this to generate because 60 frames per second is good enough. Stabilization, we don't really need to worry about, so I'm going to turn that off. Motion deblur, we want motion blur. And then grain, we don't need because we want it crystal clear. So everything is good. And then that's it. That's all we need. So now we're just going to export this. But first, I'll just render it so I can show you side-by-side comparison on how good this looks and how important it is for this kind of realistic footage, especially if we want to go for virality and make people argue about whether or not it's AI in our comments to make the algorithm love us. All right, so here we have the original, the 720 by 1280 at 24 FPS. And then here we have the upscaled and frame interpolated magnificent one. So you can tell This one looks a lot more realistic. My only gripe, again, is the blades are too clean. This one has a little bit more blur to give the illusion that they may be moving quickly. These ones kind of do the opposite. They don't look like they're moving as fast. But this is perfect for what we need it for. We don't need to overthink things. I'm going to export this, and then we'll move on. This last project is perfect for brands. Businesses, brands, whatever terminology you want to use for you or your clients. And I'll preface this with, this is one of the best ways to get your foot in the door with businesses or brands, again, to then provide free value and get them to want to buy your service. Depending on what your service is, if you don't have a service, join the RPG community, link down below, and you get an entire business in a box for selling AI. Right. So content creation is one facet of that, where you can add on content creation and paid ads, whatever, just for an idea. But this method will be utilizing logos, whether we create one and animate it, which I'm going to show you, or even a brand mascot, which I've done in previous videos, which I can put the card up here somewhere if you want to check that out. But this is going to operate similarly, right? So we're just going to upload our source image, or you can generate one with NanoBanana if you don't have one already. But I'm going to use the Productive Sound logo. I have yet to create anything with this logo, so I'm kind of excited to get this going. So depending on your vision for this, we could do literally anything, right? So we have the logo on a white background. If we want to create something with this, we're going to need a clean background. So depending on whether or not your logo already has a clean background, you can just prompt it to give you a clean background. I already have a clean background, so I don't need that. But let's say, for example, I want to add text underneath this. So I'll do add productive sound underneath the logo in bold font. Could have added large bold font, but we'll see what it gets. Oh, that's perfect. That's exactly perfect. Yeah. Cool. So now we'll download this. Then we're just going to load this into a fresh instance of Flow. Then we're going to go frames to video and then upload our newly redesigned or newly created logo. I'm going to do landscape, crop and save. Now I'm going to do apply subtle but professional glint of sweeping light across the metallic emblem. I'm going to switch it back to fast so we don't burn through our credits. And then I'm going to switch the aspect ratio back to landscape as well. Then we're going to generate that. This right here provides an immediate implication for businesses. Before, you would need to learn how to use After Effects to create animations. But now with AI, you just need a subscription to these two tools, and you have literally an entire endless supply of utility. So let's see what we've got. Oh, you guys, look at that. Perfect. I don't like the tilt too much. Oh, I love that. Again, with the tilt, I didn't tell it to not tilt it, so that's on me. It doesn't look too bad, though. I don't mind the tilt. This one's a little too much, though. Let's see this one. Okay. Is it going to... Okay, I love that. I love that. I love that. I love it. I love it. I love it. Cool. It didn't give us a fourth generation for some reason, but no matter. We have a winner. First try. That's rare. So now we're going to download this, upscale it, and since this is 1080p, as are all of the landscape generations at the time of recording this, we don't really need to upscale this. And it's 24 FPS, so it is cinematic enough to where I don't need to interpolate the frames, but I could upscale this to 4K, but I like this as is. So my friend, again, this is a business application that you can utilize for you or your clients or even your leads. You can take a company's logo from the internet, from their website, throw it into here, do this workflow, create them something like this, be like, hey, this is what I do. I made this for you. Let's work. Let's work together. If you're interested, send them a booking link using the infrastructure that you get as part of the membership for free in the RPG community. It's free at the time of recording this, at least 50 more spots, link down below. But hopefully you were able to get some value from this. If you did, give me a thumbs up, like button, subscribe if you want to see more. Again, all of the links to everything are down below. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, my friend, peace.